All right, guys, here we are in Midtown today to do another episode of these dark side videos. Talk to you guys about some of the more sinister things that have happened in this neighborhood. You guys seem to like it, you sick freaks. But today we're covering Midtown, and believe me, there's no shortage of crazy crimes and happenings that have happened here. But I've whittled it down to 4 of the strangest stories you're going to hear. In fact, we're starting here at 46th and 3rd, which is the site of 3 different crimes that have happened. We actually covered one right over here at Sparks Steakhouse. It's where Paul Castellano was gunned down, the mob boss. You can learn more about that in my Mob Hits video. Yeah, and then we're actually at the intersection of 46th and 3rd, which is where the actual draft riots of New York City started in the year 1863 to protest the Civil War draft. It turned into the bloodiest riot in United States history. I also covered that more in depth in my slavery and racism video. Yeah, so I'm doing all this, that's all aside. You should check out those videos. I have a whole treasure trove of stuff, so go check those out. But today we're covering something else. The 3rd crime, the biggest crime of all, I forgot to mention, is this building behind me. Because this is where I used to work as a lawyer. Yeah, talk about a tragedy. Good Lord. Good riddance to that life. But anyways, those are some of the intro. But before that, before we start with the video, I'm going to hop around and show you and tell you all the stories. Check out the Patreon, guys. Good news, last video, you guys were so distraught and by my pathetic shoes that were all ripped up. People joined the Patreon. I got some new kicks, huh? So thank you for that. I'm not being sponsored, so I ain't gonna show the actual brand, but the days of being a lawyer are done. So also subscribe, hit the subscribe button if you watch one or more of these, and like the video, give it the little thumbs up. Super easy, all that stuff. But aside from that, Eric, you ready to start this thing? How do you feel?
Need to pick up any of these packages before we
No
go?
no packages. I ain't ordering crud from Amazon, I'll tell you that. Also, Eric, I got a bone to pick with you. I watched the movie Matrix Resurrections on your recommendation.
Yes.
That movie was
beautiful transhumanist film that you love.
the movie was brutal.
Brutal film, yes.
Brutally terrible movie. Maybe we'll make up for that today in our shoot. You'll shoot some extra great footage today.
Yeah.
All right, dude, are you ready to start this thing?
Yeah, let's go.
I've babbled enough. Let's do it. All right, well, I'm here at our first stop. I'm at the corner of 57th and Park. Actually, the beginning of Billionaires Row, believe it or not. I did a video on that, so you should check it out. On a roll. Anyways, I'm here to tell you the story of very bad luck. Let's just put it that way. The year is 1961. A man named Alvin Rodecker came to New York with his wife to celebrate his 60th birthday. What a dream come true. Man, he made it to 60. How cool is that? To celebrate, when he got in, he went to a restaurant that was located here for a very long time at this building called LePavillon. That's right. Je parle français et anglais, Eric. Prêt à manger au bon pain. Anyways, they were leaving the restaurant, and in fact, this is where he met a very, very unfortunate fate. This is where I introduce you to the other character in this story. Her name is Arlene Francis. She lived in this building in what is called the Ritz Tower. Still here, very fancy, very fancy. She lived here with her husband, Martin Gable, right? So she was out of town. She was actually in an upstate New York house that was near Connecticut, where she was doing summer stock acting. She was actually famous for movies like 1, 2, 3 and Murder at the Rue Morgue. All those big hits. She was also a regular on What's My Line, a game show there. Her husband was had some small parts in movies with people like Humphrey Bogart, Frank Sinatra. Anyways, she lived in this building. She was out of town, her maid was cleaning, and the window was propped open by 2 dumbbells, unfortunately. And she was cleaning the screen behind those dumbbells and accidentally knocked them over. One fell into the apartment, the other one from the 8th floor fell all the way down and landed right on top of Alvin Rodecker's head, killing him. In fact, he was walking down the sidewalk with his wife, leaving the restaurant, LePavillon, and he had just said to her, "Wow, that was expensive, but worth it. We are really celebrating." Boink. Oh, then he died. Yikes. That's some bad luck right there. His wife sues. She gets $175,000 from Arlene Francis, who wasn't there, and she gets $10,000 from the building for $185,000 total. Pretty terrible, pretty tragic. Things didn't stop for Arlene Francis there, unfortunately. 1 year after the trial, in 1963, she actually was driving in Long Island. It was a wet road. She lost control and went to the other side of traffic and oncoming traffic and killed, a passenger in another vehicle. And then to add insult to injury, in 1988, she's robbed on the way out of a taxi cab of a pendant that she wore throughout her life, including on episodes of What's My Line? I'm sure all you What's My Line fans who are watching may remember it. But that all happened right here at the Ritz Tower on the corner of 57th and Park Avenue. You know, luckily I don't live here. I live in Ridgewood, Queens, where none of the buildings are tall enough for dumbbells to fall and kill you. And that's why I live there. It's not because I can't afford Manhattan or most of Brooklyn. It's because of the dumbbell problem. But yeah, the Ritz Tower, still a very fancy little building here. No more, but the restaurant LePavillon is gone now. But pretty crazy story, huh, Eric?
That's crazy.
Well, then let's move on to our next story before this siren kills us. Okay, well, I'm here on Rockefeller Center's, street. I'm on 50th Street in Rockefeller Center. Hopefully they don't come over to me and try to boot me out of here. Every time I come film here, they try to kick me out just for filming. Come on. Anyways, I don't want to harp on that too long. I'm next to 50 Rockefeller Plaza, which is the site of another literally insane crime. So I want to introduce you to Allard Lowenstein. He was a very famous civil rights activist. He was actually a congressperson from New York from 1968 to 1970. He also served as a dean at Stanford briefly. He was a friend of RFK, Robert F. Kennedy. That's a little abbrev, as you kids like to use. Also, too, he was part of the Dump Johnson movement in 1968, trying to get rid of Lyndon B. Johnson because he wasn't progressive enough. Anyways, when he was a dean at Stanford Law, I'm sorry, not Stanford Law, just Stanford, regular Stanford, okay. He actually met a man named Dennis Sweeney, who was a student at the time. He actually convinces Sweeney to join up and be part of some progressive causes. He actually goes down to Mississippi for the voter registration drives. They kind of become friends. He becomes kind of his mentor. So they had a falling out over the strategies used down there at the time, and they don't talk to each other for a while. As the years go by, Dennis Sweeney kind of goes a little insane. You're probably thinking, hey, Tom, wait a minute. Everyone always says, like, oh, I'm a little cuckoo. Well, first of all, don't ever even think of interrupting me again, all right? And two, this guy was actually insane, okay? He actually sought out the dental bridge work out of his mouth because he thought that radio messages were being beamed through his teeth, all right? So that's really insane. He's not crazy like, oh, look at me, I'm having brunch on a Sunday for 2 hours. That's not crazy.
Teeth radio insane.
Teeth radio insane, exactly, Eric. Anyways, Dennis Sweeney by 1980 totally lost it. He kind of had a bone to pick with Allard Lowenstein. So he calls up his offices, which were located here at 50 Rockefeller Plaza, because by then he was in private practice as an attorney. He calls and makes an appointment to come and, kill his former mentor. He made an appointment to kill somebody. It's kind of crazy. You call up and someone's like, hi, is this about a legal question? No, I'm actually coming over to kill the lawyer. Okay, how's 4 o'clock? Well, anyways, that's what he did. He came here at 4 p.m., meets Lowenstein at the 9th floor lobby, goes into his office. Lowenstein comments on how it looked like he needed some mental help in some way. He pulls out a gun, shoots 7 times. Then he goes back into the lobby, drops the gun in the secretary's in basket, sits down in the waiting room, and waits for the police to come arrest him, which I don't think is the purpose of the waiting room, but it served it nonetheless. And that all happened right here at 50 Rockefeller Plaza. He's actually found actually insane. He was actually released though in 2000 because he became a model, inmate you call him, and he's actually, bouncing around New York now. Lord knows where he is, hopefully not watching this video. Okay, so this crime was actually kind of a big deal. I mean, Allard Lowenstein was a former congressman from New York. He's only 51 years old, a big progressive activist in his day. Yale Law School, his alma mater, named a bunch of different things after him in his honor. I wish Emory Law School would name some things after me, maybe a few more subscribers and a few more million views, and we'll see. But yeah, that's the story. I guess if there's any moral to this story, it's if you're gonna murder somebody, be polite about it, make an appointment. Yeah, what'd you think of that story, Eric?
Horrifying.
Truly dark, man, but I warned you at the top.
Oddly polite.
Dark but oddly polite. That's kind of how people describe me. That's what I have on my Instagram bio. All right, well, next stop, right? All right, well, we're here at our next spot. This is St. Patrick's Cathedral on 5th Avenue. Ever heard of it? Well, anyways, it's the site of our next very blasphemous crime, unfortunately. The story goes that on September 21st, 1988, at about 7:30 p.m., all is regular, just a regular fall evening. This guy, 6'5", 250 pounds, just walking down the street. Eventually takes all his clothes off about a block from here, about around this block, gets completely butt naked and walks with some red carnations down the street. Nothing out of the ordinary for New York, right? Well, then he walks inside to St. Patrick's Cathedral, and he finds a woman sitting in the pews and starts hitting her, slapping her and punching her. She's freaking out, people start running away. He then gets up and picks up a big brass prayer stand and starts swinging it around. An usher comes over to stop him. He hits the usher in the head, a 77-year-old guy, kills him right there in the middle of the church. A police officer comes over, he hits him, knocks him out cold. Then another police officer comes over and finally shoots the guy dead right in the middle of the church. One of the biggest cathedrals in the United States. The man, unfortunately, he actually come over to the United States in 1980 as part of the Marriott boat lift. If you don't know what the Marriott boat lift was, it was like this 5-month span from April to October 1980, where Castro actually allowed exiles to leave Cuba as long as they were picked up at the Marriott harbor in near Havana. And 125,000 people left Cuba. At the same time, Castro also sent over 16 to 20,000 criminals and mental patients. Go figure. So you can imagine a lot of people who just wanted to be out of Cuba were on a boat surrounded by rapists, drug dealers, and thieves. It's like being forced to go on a fraternity booze cruise. Okay. Anyways, this guy had come over on that. He was shot dead here. All happened right here in St. Patrick's Cathedral, the seat of the diocese here. In fact, that morning, Cardinal John O'Connor had come face to face with this man when he came up for communion. It was very crazy that all that happened right here on September 21st, 1988. The man's name was Jorge Delgado. Yeah, Delgado. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. But the only thing I have in common with this guy is his hulking athletic frame, okay? This is a guy who actually used 14 different aliases with government agencies. Why did he have to stick with Delgado? Why couldn't he go on with something else, huh? All right. Well, what'd you think of that story, huh, Eric?
Horrifying.
Horrifying, huh?
Very dark.
Even more horrifying that he could possibly be distantly related to me. Well, I assure you I'm not as big of a psychopath as this guy. Okay, well, that's the story. Time to go to our next spot. All right, Eric, we're here at our next spot. We're at 525 Lexington Avenue. This is the site of the former Marriott East Side. It's actually been a hotel since the 1920s. Houdini performed a trick in the pool here. George O'Keeffe lived here briefly. But it became a Marriott. And in 1990 was the site of a politically charged murder. So I'm going to introduce you here real quick to a man named Meir Kahane. He was a Brooklyn-born Jewish rabbi who actually started his own political party, served a term in the Knesset in Israel under the Kach party, which means thus in Hebrew. That's Kach. All right, get your mind out of the gutters. It's Kach, not Kach. You know, his whole thing was being a very anti-Arab militant, and he actually alienated himself from a lot of the other government elements. The other two parties, major parties at the time, boycotted his party, kind of didn't want to mix with him. He was looked at as very controversial. He advocated violence, the use of violence and force to achieve his political ends. He actually was arrested for conspiracy to bomb, to bomb certain sites or people. And in 1990, November 5th, 1990, he came to this hotel to give a speech, right? So he gives a speech, it's done, he's off the stage, he's talking to people are telling him, what they thought. And this man comes up to him and shoots him in the neck. He shoots twice and hits him once in the neck, and falls down, everyone's freaking out. He runs outside, and he gets into a shootout with the U.S. Postal Service police officer that was out here. That's right, the U.S. Postal Service has police officers. I'm still waiting for, Bruce Willis to make that in a movie. But happens out here, the man's name was Carlos Acosta. He hits this man, and the man goes to the hospital and is then arrested, obviously. That man's name was El Sayed Nozair. He was an Egyptian American who, obviously had his issues with Meir Kahane. He actually ends up going to trial, and he's acquitted of the murder charges, although he was convicted of the weapons charges and the assault charges. Very strange, right? In fact, he spent a lot of the time of the actual trial sitting at his defense table sketching pictures of Princess Diana, which is actually how I spent a lot of my high school math class. But anyways, he actually ends up going to court again in 1993. He is actually convicted of the landmark bombing plot in New York. He was actually one of the people who conspired to bomb the World Trade Center in February 1993. In fact, Osama bin Laden helped pay for his defense costs. Kind of crazy. And now today, he's still serving time in Kentucky. Doesn't get much more brutal than that. And his son, actually, in 2014, wrote a book about his experience as the son of a well-known terrorist called A Terrorist Son, A Story of Choice. I'm sure you can pick that up in Oprah's book club. But that all happened here, 525 Lexington Avenue. Kind of crazy story. This political figure was assassinated right here. Go figure. Well, that was a pretty crazy story, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe we should go to the last spot and wrap this up.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, well, we got here to the end of the video, guys. Just gonna put my feet up here. Don't mind these old things. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We made a nice little walk through Midtown. We talked about, just random things that can happen to you in the middle of the street at any given moment. We talked about the literally insane. We talked about blasphemous crimes, and we talked about politically charged assassinations. Ooh boy, we covered a lot. What'd you think about that, Eric? Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, scary.
Scary? I think it was a little scary, but now we're in Central Park, looking down at Midtown. Pretty cool little view here. Had to wait in line for like 30 minutes with all the people taking selfies and stuff. So I think it was worth it. You did some good work today, Eric.
Thanks. Wait till you look at it.
I can't wait. And you know what? I actually forgive you for recommending me Matrix Resurrections. So congratulations, you're out of the doghouse.
Slander.
Yeah. But guys, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Please like the video. And also, more importantly, check out the Patreon, guys. Consider donating or whatever, helps fund these things, My days of being a lawyer in Midtown are far, far gone. So, if only those people at Emerly Law could see me now. I ain't making the alumni magazine anytime soon, I'll tell you that much. But it's fine, because I get to make these for you, so whatever. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Eric, am I forgetting anything?
I think you are not forgetting it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, anyways, we're gonna go, hang out. It's a nice day, maybe go get a chocolate sundae. Go. All right, well, thanks again, guys. I'll see you later. Sick.